And if you've never done a wholesale deal or you're getting back into wholesaling, show you how to do this by a step-by-step process to simplify it to get you started in wholesaling. I find most people complicate wholesaling, and I just want to give clarity. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do if you want to get started specifically for free. And at the end, I'll show you how to step it up and scale it. So there's a couple ways you can work with me. Number one, you have the comment section. Go ahead and drop a comment in there. If you got a question, ask a question there. There's a new icon on there. It's got like a little question. What do they call it? Like an avatar or emoji or whatever. That helps me clarify if you have a question or a statement, and you can use that. Number two, make a friend in there. Find somebody that you can either JV with, you can find accountability partners, because most of the people watching this live stream are on the exact same journey you are. And if you know that, it's pretty cool, because when I started wholesaling, I had to go find people locally, which was really, really hard to do. So do that. And if we have some time on the end, what I will do is we can do some one-on-ones, and I can help you out if you got a deal you want to work on, something like that. Guys, it's Monday. Wake up. I know it's around lunchtime. I know if you're on the West Coast, it's you're probably, I guess you're doing a cup of coffee, so it's only a 3-hour time difference. But the most important thing is we're here talking about wholesaling. So I didn't want to miss the live stream. So we will jump into this. So once again, if you got a question, put it on in there. And yeah, I'm sorry for you West Coast guys. I know it's a little bit early, but it's that or nothing. So once again, if you are new to wholesaling, first and foremost, go to freewholesaling.com. Why? It's the actual free course. Now, I'm going to give you a quick summation on how it works, the steps you want to go through. But if you want the details, exactly how to do it, go over to freewholesaling.com. Don't worry, I don't ask for a credit card. You just put your information in there and you get access to the course. It is the only 100% free wholesaling course. And here's the really cool part. It's the absolute best. I guarantee that my course that me and my son created is 100% transparent. There's over 30 years of experience built into it. You get the best of both worlds between all the creative stuff my son does, what I've done traditionally. I'm going to teach you the fundamentals of wholesaling, and we're going to show you how to really churn the juice onto it. So if you want to get started, freewholesaling.com. It's not even close, guys. It's not even close. I challenge anybody out there in the wholesaling community, put your course up. I'll put my course up, and let's go. We will go step by step. And I don't do that as a challenge. I just want to give you guys the tools so you have everything you need, the best information to go out and get started in wholesaling. You see, most of these courses, they're going to make you tell you got to pay 5, you got to pay 7, you got to pay 10 grand. It's ridiculous. If I give it away for free, why would you even go through all that drama? And I'm going to specifically talk about today, when you get started in wholesaling, why you actually want to just kind of make sure you're a good fit before you make a ginormous investment. 9 out of 10 people that start wholesaling that pay fail. And the question is it the marketer's problem or is it you, the end user's problem? Well, the problem is if 9 out of 10 are failing, something ain't working. And my contribution to wholesaling is to give you options and give you the truth on how it works. And I think we explain it the best. So go over there, check it out, freewholesaling.com. It's on there for you. And let's just jump into this. So we're talking about now, once again, everything I'm going to do is in freewholesaling.com. But the first thing is everybody always talks about, what is a motivated seller? And when I started wholesaling, it was still a catchphrase, meaning it's like, oh, what's a motivated seller? The problem is it seems like every seller on MLS is a motivated seller. It gets out of control on the word motivated seller. So we have to decide what is a motivated seller. And the only thing you need to identify and know up front is the difference between wanting to sell and someone who needs to sell. And let me be very, very, very clear on this. You have to find the right category. It's not and or. It's the people that want to sell, and then there's people that need to sell. And if you understand that, it's easy. So, and I see you guys talking a little bit about, their motivation switches. And I agree with you with this on this, Kevin. I actually agree. But for the most part, is people who want to sell are not your target customers, not even close. People who want to sell want the highest price. They usually have very pretty properties and or they're hiding the truth about it. And they want full retail. And they have to go to, if you want to pay full retail for something, think about this. How does that get done? They full retail for anything you need in life requires a salesman or woman. Everybody understand that? Full retail requires a salesman or woman. End of story. Why? Because they don't need it. They don't need it. It is a luxury item. If I want to buy this $1 million home, it just says I want to buy it. Can I get away with a $50,000 trailer? Yeah, that's all you need. But we always want so much more. So it's important for you to understand that. The problem is, if you look at the real estate market, everybody wants to sell a property. It's 100%. So everybody who wants to sell, that's 100% of the market. So do you really think you can take down 100% of the market? You're going to waste about 99% of your effort by doing that. Why? Because it's going to seem real easy. Now, people who want full retail are going to put their pictures online. They're going to use a realtor. You're going to have the realtor's phone number. You're going to have the price. You're going to have descriptions. You're going to have detail. You're going to get everything. You guys understand what I'm saying is, so if I'm telling you, you just got to focus on that small percentage, then we need to find the ones that needs to sell. That's it. Why? Because the ones that want, there's only two things that can change their mind. Kind of like Kevin said earlier, time and circumstance. And time riding on the market, I don't have 1 year to sit around and go, let me know when you become realistic. And here's the truth of the matter. People who want to sell, they get a number stuck in their head. Usually they take a number and they extrapolate why they need to get that number. And then they put it on the market for that and they go, I'm not budging. So the first 60 or 90 days, not one movement. Well, what happens to them? Reality sets in and the market's cruel. And realtors and buyers tell them, I go, it's not worth it. Like, I'm not even going to take a client. Like, you're overpriced by 200 grand. And then what do? They drop it 10 grand. And then another month later, they drop it 15 grand. And they start chasing it down. And it's like chasing, you ever seen your dog when he chases his tail or her tail? It's like they're never going to catch it. And those customers, if you have a descending market like we do in a lot of pockets of the country, is say they listed the property at 300,000, it's really worth like 260, and then eventually they drop to 290, 280. Well, as they're dropping, sometimes the market gets more penetration, meaning more inventory, and instead of their house being worth 260, now it's worth 235. And then, like, by the time they accept it, sometimes 1 year can go by. That's why I don't spend a lot of time on those people. Now, once they stall in the market, 90 days, 180 days, definitely 1 year, then they are much more primed for a wholesaler like you and me to give them an offer. But you have to let time and circumstance change. And I find most of the people that want to sell the house, I'm usually just wasting my time in the beginning. Now, if the market punishes them and they get more motivated, then they can churn from want to need to sell. But man, it's impossible to convince somebody who wants to sell to take a wholesale offer. It never, ever happens. And if you know that, don't waste your time. Honestly, if you just get this fact, you're so much further ahead than every other wholesaler. I wasted so much time chasing people who want to sell their house. It's a waste of time. So let me give you a simple acronym that you can protect yourself when dealing with wholesaling. And it goes something like this: ODN. Now, I like acronyms because they're simple. So you guys know I'm a fully infected ADHD guy. I'm high energy, high pace. I love wholesaling. It is honestly the most alignment with my heart and my head of anything I've ever done in life. That's how committed I am to it. It's crazy. Now, why? Because I chase the deal. And when I get the deal, I get bored with it after I get the deal. I'm a terrible rehabber. I hate rehabbing. It doesn't mean I don't rehab properties. The problem is a rehabber can't really control how much money you make. So the entrepreneurial side, you're kind of speculating because you're controlled by what your neighbor puts their house on the market. You're controlled what the property is going to be appraised for, and you can't control the inventory around it, and you can't control any type of world events. So when you get into fix and flip, you get into more of a speculation, especially at the higher price points. The lower ones, that's fine. But the problem with fix and flip is a huge time suck. So if we go, I made 100 grand. I go, yeah, but you took a year and a half to do it. Like a year and a half for 100 grand is not a lot of money. And so if I could make 20 or 30 grand every month, I would destroy you on your fix and flip. But I digress. I'm not here to rag on fix and flip. I like fix and flip. I just hate the process. And the problem, it's undetermined of what kind of repairs and money you're going to get into. So I like to use this acronym. So the first one stands for O, which simply off market. That doesn't mean a property has to be off market to get a great wholesale deal, but your probability of getting the best wholesale deal is in a off market property. End of story. Yes, I've bought on market properties, but substantially lower profit levels. If you can get it off market, you reduce the amount of competition, you get more of the seller's attention. It's just a common sense trait. Now, there's 3 traits here. That's off market, right? That's part of ODM. Now, the second part is D, which is direct to seller. Why? Because you can't get the seller's story without having a direct correlation with them, a connection, rapport, relationship, call it whatever you want. If I have to do with a realtor, I could sit here and tell a realtor 20 minutes about myself. I guarantee they're going to go back to that seller and about 3 words describe what your offer. And they'll go just like this. Here's a crappy wholesaler offer. Don't take it. And that's what they do to you guys when you're not looking. I know you think it's so cool. You do all these presentations in front of realtors. For the most part, realtors want nothing to do with non-traditional real estate. It horrifies them. They're anti anything wholesaler. They don't understand any type of creative financing. It's a pain in the ass. So for this reason, if you can have a direct connection with the seller, your odds go way up. Think about this. You remember when you were in grade school, I remember doing an exercise when I was in kindergarten. They would tell one little girl a secret, the teacher would, and then she'd have to whisper it in the person's ear next to him. And then it went through about 20, 25 people. And by the time that communication got to where the last person announced it, it was nothing like the original message that the little girl told them, which goes to tell you, once you give information to one party and then they decide to, translate it and give their highlights of it, the realtor is going to think from their point of view. It's a crap offer. It's way below. You don't need it. Even though maybe the property's in pre-foreclosure and they need it. I see it all the time on listed properties. And for this reason, if you can be direct to seller, man, it really changes the speed of the deal. It changes your authenticity, the connection with them. Very hard to connect with realtors and demonstrate because their job is to seek out the highest offer. And it's not always the best offer. And that's the part that drives me nuts. So I want to be direct to seller. It doesn't mean I don't do deals with realtors, but if I had my choice, I had to wave my magic wand, I would always connect directly with the seller. It's just easier. Think about talking to your family member if you had to talk strictly through an attorney. The attorney is going to transcribe what the legal matters are, and then they're going to do it that way, and they're going to remove the emotion. I find a lot of realtors do that. Even in properties that are pre-foreclosure that need tons of rehab, they still seek the highest offer. And most of the time, those properties just need the best offer. So it's important that we understand that. So that's 2 out of the 3. So if we know 2 out of the 3, let me see here. I'm just looking at that. Lucas, that's my ADHD kicking in. So, okay, let's see here. Okay, let's keep going. And then we'll go through comments and we'll try to do some lives on it. So off market, direct to seller. And the last one is the N, which, as I said earlier, they needs to sell. Period. Why? Because that's the person that's most likely going to do the deal with you. And the difference between need and want is simple. I need water to survive, right? We all agree with that. If you go without water X amount of days, you're going to have a lot of problems. Do I need Coke? Do I need Mountain Dew? No, I want those. I don't want them. Did a long time ago. But that's a want. But what you need is water. So it's like, think about this. If you need a car, I need a car to get to work. Okay. Here's my 2-door Honda Civic. Yeah, but I want a Lamborghini. Do you guys understand the difference in it? A Lamborghini has to be sold by a salesman or a woman. The Honda Civic is just, Hey, I need something to get to work right now. Hey, I happen to have a Honda Civic right here in my front parking lot. It's gassed and ready to go. You come on down, I'll get you the keys. Ah, that'd be great. I just got to get you to sign this agreement. The car's all yours. See, I don't have to sell the Honda Civic, the Lamborghini. You're going to have to bring out all the bells and whistles, and you have to keep that mental clarity and understand that that's how that works. So everybody grasps the want versus need. So once you do that, wholesaling simple. If you can get that clarity, under motivated seller equals ODN, just like I tell you on that, it will change your life in wholesaling. Now, it doesn't mean everyone's going to say yes. It just means you increase your odds. Rick, what if I have a wholesale deal and it only checks 2 out of the 3 boxes? Guess what? You've got a good shot. Hey, Rick, I have a motivated seller. It only checks 1 out of the 3 box. It's probably not going to work out. Got a slight probability, but I've already done the studies and analysis. I've done so many deals, guys. If you can get all 3 ODN, off market, direct to seller, needs to sell, it's usually just about walking them through and not saying something stupid. Does everybody understand that? 2 out of the 3, you're going to have to work, but you got to get a great shot. 1 out of the 3, they're probably going to wind up in your follow-up, and you're going to have to stay on. It could take another 3 to 6 months to get it done. And that's how I look for deals in wholesaling. Why would someone need to sell? That's easy. That's easy. And so the next thing is, once we get that understood, we have to talk about marketing. And marketing is everything in wholesaling. In fact, it is your number one skill set as a wholesaler. Anyone who tells you otherwise does not understand marketing and probably does not have a lot of experience in doing it. Now, I'm not saying you cannot outsource it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm telling you, you're going to have to learn to master marketing, because that is the true high skill set of a wholesaler. And I see a lot of wholesalers coming in now saying, I don't want to deal with marketing. I'm like, okay. That's like saying, I want to be a star football player without ever lifting a weight. It's like saying, I want to be a cross country runner and never run laps around the track. You don't do any running. You just can't do it. Why? Because whoever generates the lead is usually in control. Don't believe me? Switch over to PPC, PPL. Now, there are deals there, but understanding you're giving up a lot more money when you work with these companies because they're deriving the leads. And if you understand that, you have to figure out how to market. Because if you don't, if you always depend on other people to do it for you, you're going to get taken advantage of. And once you truly understand what type of deals you're looking for, the type of marketing that works the best, then and only then you can outsource it to PPL companies that will cut you a deal that you don't have to bid on their leads. You can find JV partners you can work with. But the people who just want to cut out marketing because they think it's a waste of time and money, it's the number one skill set. And if you don't wake up to this reality, I promise you, you're going to be stuck. People that know how to market usually only have one channel. They'll use a company, PPC or PPL. And listen, it's not a bad strategy, but when the prices change, so what if you go from paying 200 a lead to 400 a lead? You double your cost. You have no control. That means the marketing company is going to control directly how much money you make. And to me, completely unacceptable. So I've always controlled my marketing costs. Marketing is an investment. And once you master marketing, especially at the beginning, then you can work with PPL companies. You can do PPC if you've got experience or a partner doing that. You can do direct mail because you know exactly what your return on investment is, and you have a threshold that you want to hit. And I find people who come into wholesaling that just want to skip marketing because somebody told them to, they're the fastest to leave the business, 100%. Now, I got good news for you. I have a way to get you started in wholesaling. It doesn't cost you a dime, but you got to be willing to step up to the plate and do it. So why do we do the free method first? Rick, what's the free method? Well, I put it on the bottom of the screen here, freewholesaling.com. It's so funny because when me and Zach came up with the strategy, a lot of people laughed at me and Zach. That's fine. I get it. Early innovators, it scares the crap out of people. But like, we had a vision and we had an idea and we've executed it perfectly, in my opinion. Not perfect, but you know how it goes. The idea is, let's give the information about wholesaling out for free. Nobody's got more information or experience, in my opinion. Find me a duo that's got more experience than me and my son. And if they do, that's great. I give them all the credit in the world. It's not a competition who's done it the longest. But the idea is, why is there such a high failure rate in wholesaling? And we figured it out. I kind of figured it out quick. I knew this back in 2010. The problem is there's no barriers to entry for the coaching and guru industry. And honestly, gurus were making significantly more money coaching and selling courses than they were actually doing off wholesaling. Now, there's nothing wrong with it. That's the capitalism 101. We just wanted to give you guys options. And the idea is if I give you the information for free, I'm literally going to show you how to do a deal for free. You're going to have to take the work. We know if I give it to 10 people, 2 or 3 will actually take action. Now, I flipped the script on it. So if I have an 80% failure ratio, which is better than 90, I'm not taking money out of people's pockets that never, ever meant to do any work in wholesaling. In fact, a lot of people that buy courses, they believe it's going to be easy. They believe it's the answer to all their questions. And honestly, it's usually just the first step to show you a long, hard journey. So the idea with me and Zach coming out with the free on the course scrolling on your bottom is we wanted to get you past the you factor. What do I mean by that? Listen, it takes guts to do what we do. It takes what I do is not for the average person. I commend everybody watching this video because wholesaling is just not meant for most people. In fact, I'll tell you 95% of the world should never even consider wholesaling. I'm going to push you. I'm going to make you do things so uncomfortable. But in that process, if you pass the you factor, I will show you things that you never thought you could ever do in your life. In fact, most of you are walking blindly. You are comparing yourself to people that don't push themselves at all. You're trying to be average, and you're either stuck in school, you're being indoctrinated by all these colleges and schools. And I got no problem with school teachers, but I'm just telling you, the stuff they're teaching you is not going to make you successful. It'll make you a functionable human being and a good paying tax citizen in so the government gets their money from you. That's it. In fact, I used to laugh at people who got homeschooled. Smartest people on planet Earth, in my opinion. Now, I'm not an advocate for or against. The idea is, though, I strongly believe you should not leave education in the government's hands and the school's hands because they're teaching such dated information. I mean, we're still doing really, really like the math and science has to be taught. There's no business taught in school. There's nothing spiritually taught in school. People don't understand how money works. And we're just, I don't know. I just think we're becoming more and more dependent on the government. I don't want to go into that tangent. So my ADHD's brought me back. The bottom line is the you factor. If I give you the course for free, I take the money away. Can you hit it out of the park? And here's the truth. Most of you won't. Some of you will take me up onto it and you will run with it. And that's the difference in the you factor, how we do it. How the coaches and the gurus do it, which is I'm not knocking what they do, but it doesn't work. And that's why I don't want to follow it. If I know the data is out there and 90 to 95% of the people are going to fail on a paid wholesaling course, how can we fix this? You see, me and Zach get torn up because we attack on like, how can we fix the problem? How can we make things better? And the only people that have ever come after me are the people selling the old traditional courses. I'm not knocking the courses. I'm sure they're valuable, but 90 to 95% failure ratio, like at some point, if I was a doctor and I was losing 95% of my patients, I'm probably not going to be in business long. But the problem is, as long as the cash comes in, you guys kind of keep doing it. And they just got to find the people that are just going to keep paying them. So if you have the you factor, meaning you actually take the information, you run with it. If I can teach you how to make money with no money invested, imagine what you could do with just a little bit of money. And that's the difference is I can pull, if I pulled 10 people that paid for a course, I guarantee you 7 out of the 10 never did anything and they're doing something else. So if they charge 10 grand, that's $70,000 that went out the window. That's 7 families that got hurt because a lot of these people, it's their last dime. And I think it's crazy when people take credit card and they do installment payments. Once again, I'm all about a capitalistic society. Here's the difference. I'm on your side to give you guys options. So if I say, listen, I have a $10,000 course, I'm going to give it to you for free. But if you don't step up, I'm not going to acknowledge you. And so I do the other ones like give me, it's like the NFL. Very, very few people make it to the NFL team. So here's how I look at wholesaling. Let's treat it like the NFL. And the key is I don't want to stand for not for long. Not, how about this? It's not for losers. It's just the truth. If you don't want to work and you want to take every shortcut and you want to try me and Zach's course, I guarantee you're going to get your ass kicked. So if you think about this, if everybody else is charging from, I don't know, $2,000 to $10,000, and they only have about a third of my experience, why do you think paying them is going to push you over the top? In fact, you're going to be shocked at how much work they're going to make you do too. I don't knock them. The only difference between me and a paid course is what you pay to enter. And here's the ticket. Here's the cost to enter freewholesaling.com. If you're not going to work your ass off, you can sit here and bitch and moan on my feed all the time. I didn't charge you, so I don't care. I spend over 150 grand a year just to host all the stuff we give you guys. It's too hard, Rick. I can't do it. It's just too hard. It's too saturated. Think about this. If you paid me 10 grand, you'd really be crying. And so that is the U factor. Do you have it? Are you going to pass the U factor? If you pass the U factor, you could do anything you want in this world, but most people can't pass it. And that's what I want to drive home to you. So I'm looking at comments while I do this. So you've got to understand, guys, let's get into it. Once you get in there, okay, Rick, how do I do this for free? That's perfect. The first thing when you go over to Free Wholesale, I'm going to start you off, is government lists. Why? There's some of the most motivated people. I still use government lists to this date. I've been doing this 23 years. Fundamentals. If you've ever played football, basketball, baseball, soccer, the coaches drill fundamentals into you till you're like bored. And when you get bored and you get really good at something, you can do serious damage. But I can't run a triple wishbone offense if you don't know how to just carry the ball through the line. And most of you are running way too many complicated plays. So government lists, they're endless. What can we do with driver pre-foreclosures, probates, eviction lists, fire damage properties, arrest records? Guys, I could sit here and go on and on all day. Go over to freewholesaling.com. I promise you, all that stuff will be there for you. Now, the next one that you're going to mix into it is just simply driving for dollars. I still use this list. I love this list. Nothing beats you getting on your car, getting on your bike, getting on your running shoes, and going and finding ugly properties. Now, I'm going to give you a disclosure. There's people actually sell a driving for dollars course. So let me give it to you in less than 1 minute. Get in the car and look for houses that just look out of place. They look run down, blue tarps on the roof, weeds, grass growing way up high, boarded up windows, stacks and stacks of garbage, mold all covered all over the driveway, terrible old dilapidated signs. Those ones, you hit it out of the park. One of my first driving for dollars deals I ever did, check this out. It was a realtor sign knocked all the way over, and it was up so long that the sun faded off all the realtors information. I had to reverse engineer how to get it. Now, it took me 9 months to buy that property. Why? Because I had to get through the damn realtor. The realtor was the problem. And I got it driving by dollars. Why? I saw a sign knocked down. That doesn't make sense. Why would a realtor want their sign knocked down? And then the grass was halfway up the realtor sign. It was easy to find it. It took a lot of work to get that deal. But guys, driving for dollars, hands down, probably one of the most valuable lists. Why? Because it's your private list. You're using your eyes. You're looking at damage on properties. If it looks bad, nobody chooses to let properties go that bad. Properties cost money. There's $45 trillion of real estate in the United States. There is a significant investment to maintain this. And when people have problems, it's not that easy. And so our job is to help these people out. But first, we have to find these types of properties. So driving for dollars is one of the real easy ways that you can jump on these properties and find them. And I would listen, if I hopped in your market tomorrow and you did this locally, I would look at a map. We would decide what areas to farm, and we'd get in the car and go drive. It'd be a lot of fun. Maybe I should have a driving for dollars tour. We look for ugly houses, and then we talk about, I don't know, life stuff. I don't care. It'd be fun. We record the whole thing. It'd be a lot of fun. Anyways, so these are your basic lists that you start with: your government list and your driving for dollars, code violation list. Guys, I could go tax delinquency list, freewholesaling.com. I got it on the bottom. It's call this your paid ad for my free course. That's it. It's that simple. I How do you not, like, I try to give you the motivation like crap. Rick and Zach just gave me a $10,000 course, and every other person out here wants to charge me for it. Now, they have the right to charge for it, but I have the right to give it away for free too. Why? I'm playing the long game. I always play the long game. Short-term people, they look really good in the short term and then they falter. I could go through company after, there's entire companies that had entire coaching. Like, we have a coaching posse. We have all this stuff. We're incorporated. They don't even exist. They, like, 4 or 5 years is their average lifespan. Why? Because it gets to the point where so many failed students are like, this doesn't work anymore. It gets sold. They tell you they sold it for a big dollar amount. They usually sell it to a private individual and they make a couple payments and then that's it. And then they tell you they sold it for a $7 or $8 figure deal, but they'll never share you any of the details or show you any of the contract. That's all I need to know about someone who says they sold a business, especially in wholesaling. Guys, get past this. Now, what's the next thing is? You have your list. These are what we call prospects, suspects, whatever you want to call them. Now you have to find a way to deliver your message to the seller. This is what freaks most people out. So I simply call it, you have to attack your list. Now, I'm not telling you to like physically attack someone. Don't take this out of context. The reality is, how are you going to get your message across all these sellers? And you have choices to do on that, and we all know. So if you understand that and you're on a budget, so I can only talk about things that are cost a tiny little bit amount of money or free. You can do the reverse driving for dollars. Take your tax delinquency list, your code violation list, and your pre-foreclosure list. Make a note, and you got to figure out logistics. Put it in there. You can do it in ChatGPT, whatever, and you draw a route, and you just put a note on each one of those doors. Now, you can do a stamp. You can get creative. Hey, got a quick question about your house, Rick, and your virtual phone number. That's it. Why do we do it? Because it works. Curiosity kills the cat. You put a note on my door, I'm probably going to call it because, yeah, I know you were at my door and it might, I'm like, I just assume it's got to be urgent if you're going to put a note on my door. Now, if you understand that, it is brilliant marketing. It's a pain in the butt, but the reality is you get a better response rate. That's why we tell you to drive for dollars. I don't do it to drive you nuts. I do it because it gets results. Is it a pain in the ass? Absolutely. Why wouldn't it be? If Rick and Zach introduce you to, it's going to be a pain in the butt, but I believe in it. It works really, really well. Now, you got to do it on a consistent basis and you got to have the volume, but it works well. The other one is you can basically do cold calling, and cold calling's straightforward. Now, I never did cold calling when I started wholesaling because honestly, I just thought it was annoying, and honestly, it wasn't mainstream when I started wholesaling. And it was very, very hard to get phone numbers. So let's just call Rick lazy when he started. I didn't take that method. Now, if I fast forward to 2015-16, when I got Zach involved in the business, he was a cold calling maniac. And I then saw the value of cold calling, and it was stupid for me to ignore it at the time. But we all make mistakes. You can pivot, you can change. And the reason why I like cold calling is the effectiveness of it. You can reach hundreds and hundreds of people without ever even leaving your home or office, whatever you want to do. And for that reason, it's amazing. And with softwares like XLeads, go to xleads.com. Your software includes free skip tracing. Do you know when I first started skip tracing back in 2015, it was $1.50 per hit. Do the math. I paid $3,000 to $4,000 a list, but I'm not complaining because I actually did tons of deals off of them. So yes, more people are cold calling than ever now, but with X Leads, you get unlimited. What used to be your most expensive part, which was the skip tracing, it's now included in there. So now you get the phone number, you get the email, you get absolutely everything. And that's one of the great ways to do it. So I love cold calling. I didn't say it was going to be fun, but if you could call 300 or 500 people and never leave your property, that is the most efficient way you can do it. I didn't say it was going to be the easiest, and I didn't say it would be fun. But the reality is It's 100% there for you, and you have to grasp that concept. Now, the next one a lot of you guys overlook is email. Yes, you can email people, specifically send them offers. And inside our X Leads account, we have built a system where you can actually send them an automated offer. It's an email offer generator. We call it EOG. And why it is a powerful tool to help with follow up on people that didn't make decisions or are on the fence. And the whole purpose of why we try to incorporate X Leads when we do it is the automation. Guys, you're dealing with thousands and thousands of sellers, not in the beginning, but eventually, hopefully, you get tens of thousands of leads. Dude, the follow up, you think you can keep all that information up here? It's too much information. The beauty of today's technology with AI is the automation of follow up process. Automatically email them, automatically send them a text, and you can even call them from the X Leads account. You have to have automations. If you got to send out 200 to 300 a day, it would literally, you would spend all day trying to figure out how to send them. What if X Leads did that for you? So the follow up is absolutely huge, and you've got to understand. So if we know that, we're going to attack our list. So basically, you're going to get cold calling, reverse driving for dollars, and email. Now, for you brave people that can door knock yourself out. I started out door knocking. I'm not going to lie to you. It was horrifying back then, but it pushed me and it made me make bold choices. So if you think it'll make you a bold choice and you can legally do it in your city or town, go for it. Specifically pre-foreclosures, tax delinquencies, and code violations. Those are typically the three best ones. Yes, I'm giving you cheat sheets on this show. Remember, guys, all this stuff's in freewholesaling.com. I promise you. Now, once we do that, now you got to pick one of the choices I just talked about. There is no wrong choice. Let me repeat this back to you. There is no wrong choice in which marketing meeting you pick. In fact, most of you are going to gravitate. You're going to do it one or two ways. There's a good way and a bad way. Number one, the good way is you're going to go to the one that believes going to give you the best chance of success getting a wholesale deal. Remember, I got to get you your first deal. That's our only goal here. Some of you are going to go to the path of least resistance. Which one's the easiest? And I'm telling you, there's a clear winner in that. Ask yourself, which one's going to get me the outcome I desire? Keep in mind, if I want to work out and I want to be physically fit and I want to look good in the mirror, I have to go through pain to get there. There's no easy way to do it. You could take shortcuts, you could take certain types of drugs and injections, but it's usually going to have a severe consequence. And wholesaling, why do you think it'd be any different? So you have to make a clear choice. Which one's going to get me the results I desire? Or which one's going to keep me busy, make me feel good now, but get me nowhere? Path of least resistance. Choose wisely on this. Now, you can do a combination of them. It's not the end of the world. But I'm telling you, if you choose the path of least resistance, you're going to struggle and you're going to regret it. In fact, in wholesaling, you should always just attack up front. You're going to have to do bold things. And if things scare you and make you nervous, get over it. I'll bring you up on stage here. We'll have a conversation. You're going to have to learn to be bold, because bold is what scares you, but makes you excited at the same time. Does everybody understand that? It's crazy how the word bold works. There's great examples in life. All the crap going on around America right now, there's a lot of bold people out there. A lot of people that will do anything to get their point across. And if you agree with it or not, it doesn't matter. It's tough to do that. And people pay prices for that. But you're going to have to make bold moves in wholesaling. And if you don't want to make a bold move and you want to take the path of least resistance, this is why we have a 90 to 95% failure ratio in wholesaling. The only difference is you're paying the other guys, and me and Zach are giving you the gift. The question is, what do you do with that gift? You can do like everybody else and squander it? Dude, make me proud. Like, I'm going to look at you just like I look at my son. Go hit it out of the park. You could do anything you absolutely want. The decision is yours. What you do with it is 100% in your control. Remember, I'm always talking about, what am I talking about here? I'm talking about the you factor. Everything I talk about when it comes to freewholesaling.com is, are you going to take that big, bold action and actually get it going? So once you do that, you got your list. You've figured out how you're going to attack it, a combo of the things we talked about. Once again, all this information is inside of freewholesaling.com. So if you understand that, make sure you go over there. Now, once we have our list and we figured out our marketing medium, it's a simple process. Let me pull it up here. This is where all the hard work comes. This is where most people just go, I ain't doing it anymore. I want to comp properties. I want to talk about JVs all day long on Discord. I'm gonna play video games with my friend. I'm gonna like ponder on it, dude. Just roll your sleeves up and go. I can't emphasize this enough. You got a David Goggins that you just got to go. And this is where it's mundane, it's boring, and it's redundant. It's by design. And if you can't stick through it, you're not going to make it. Did you make your 300 calls today? What was your activity like in wholesaling today? How many sellers did you reach out? How many new lists did you pull? How many appointments did you make? How many appointments did you go on? How many people accepted you? How many people rejected you? And if you can run analytics on that, I know exactly where you're going. It's the whole reason why I created X Leads. Because I get people, well, I tried. No. I don't. There's no credit. I don't have a try column. I don't have a try grade. Try means I'm busy. Either you do it or you don't. And you know what? If you take the consistent marketing actions, people always talk about driving revenue. You have to take marketing actions to drive revenue. Revenue always comes from marketing. Because if you don't market and connect with people, you can't even have the ability to generate revenue. And you have to understand that when we get it. So we got to do the work. So that rolls us into acquisitions. And this is basically where we're going to buy properties. Acquisitions is the art of taking the deals down. Now, I don't know if I can do it justice in 15, 20 minutes, but I'm going to do the best I can here. First thing is when we talk about acquisitions, you have to understand me and Zach kind of treat this differently. So your entire process has been what? You've been taught that I have to take sales training. Okay, well let's go back. Let's go back. Are you selling something people want or something people need? Remember, if I want to sell my property for max retail, I need to hire a realtor to sell it for me. I have to pay him a big fat commission. We're going to have to do polished marketing pamphlets and the whole 9 yards. We're going to put it on the internet. Most realtors just throw it on MLS with a few pictures, and they basically, whatever's going to get the highest price, that's all they want to talk about. Now, if someone needs to sell, number one, you have to gain their trust. And number two, you actually have to solve their problem. And the only way you're going to solve their problem is through connecting with them. If you can gain their trust by being authentic and you can actually solve their problem, you don't have to sell them anything. And so I always tell people is you got to remember this. You are not selling. You're guiding, not selling. Remember, if I want a Lamborghini, I need a professional Lamborghini salesperson. If I want a Honda Civic, I just open the door and I get in it. It's just the truth, guys. It's the absolute truth. Go to a Tesla dealership. They don't even teach their people how to sell. They're the worst salespeople I ever met in my life. Either you want the basic car, you want the mid-grade, or you want these high performers. Which one do you want, Rick? That's all they do. They don't sell you crap. Their product sells on its own. Wholesaling is a product that sells on its own. Now, if I want a high-end sports car, I expect someone to woo me the higher way. The nice, the bubbly, I don't know. You get that pretty Fiji water. You get those nice warm baked, what was it? Either oatmeal or chocolate chip cookies. I really shouldn't be talking about that because it makes me hungry. But the reality is you guys kind of get it. I teach you how to guide, not sell. If you're going to sell, it's never going to work in wholesaling. This is one of the reasons why we have such a high failure rate in wholesaling. They teach wholesalers to sell the crap out of people to get to sell a contract. And most of the times when you sell people in wholesaling, the deals fall apart because they were never truly committed anyways. You ever bought something from like a car salesman or a realtor and go, I never really wanted that. I let you just talk about the positive and I got excited and my girlfriend saw it and you put me on the spot. Like, I don't want to commit that much money and time. That's what happens when you oversell something. So if you have a high failure ratio on contracts, ask yourself, am I selling them or am I guiding them? And the difference is overwhelming. If you guide people, you can do anything you want in wholesaling. Remember, I'm only looking for people who need to sell. So if I gain their trust, I get a personal connection with them and I solve their problem, I don't sell them a goddamn thing. End of story. And if you understand that, we can move forward because trust me, I'm looking at all your comments. We're going to have plenty of time to answer them. We're working through this. So if we understand that, you can get through anything in wholesaling. Now, let me put it on here. I lost my train of thought. So when we do acquisitions, some of you do it locally, some of you do it virtually. Our company does a combination of both. They're two different skill sets. I'll be the first to tell you. It is more challenging to do it virtually because you really have to hyper focus in what you're listening. So if you go through the course of freewholesaling.com, we teach you all about this. I only have so much time to go through this, so I want to give you the key points. When you're going through wholesaling, when you're going to make an offer, your first offer should be rejected. What, Rick? Yeah, you want to know why? Because if you get a yes on the first offer, I guarantee you 95% of the time you overpaid for the property. That's why you got the yes. Because you went for the maximal allowable offer, you offered close to it, you got close to it, you took it, and that's it. You have no idea what's the lowest price they take. And I just love when people make fun of me and Zach's method of, we just call it just to go for no attitude. This is how it works when you're working with someone who needs to sell a product. You need to get to their bottom line number and see if you can make it work. Remember, I'm not a cash buyer. Cash buyer are people who just make offers. They usually just go out and buy PPL leads, and that's their only strategy. I'm not knocking it, but that's a cash buyer. It's not a wholesaler. Because most people on a PPL, they don't want a real relationship with you. They just want an offer and they want a quick one, which is, it's not really wholesaling in my opinion. Why? Because they don't want a relationship with you. The only thing you're getting is a direct correlation with the seller. Now, if they need to sell, you usually get a good deal on it, but a lot of people don't do that. So if we understand that, the go for no attitude is everything you do when it comes to negotiation is a push-pull relationship. So I can't imagine, if you just want to go in and do yes offers, become a realtor. All realtors, and because the thing is, realtors, what are they really selling? They're selling a listing. They have no idea what the property is going to sell for. They got an idea, but they're selling you the idea on them getting paid a commission. So they have to sell you on it. So when I work on getting a property through wholesaling, I have to get the ends of the mean as quick as possible. So if I ask the seller, hey, what do you need to get for this property? They're like, 285,000. I'm like, how'd you come up with that number? I just shut up. And I go, listen, the most I could do is about 130 grand. You go, Rick, why would you do that? I just want to see what the reaction is. Why? Because if I chase them too far, then they're just going to keep running from me. And so I want to find out if they need to sell to see if they're even open to having a negotiation. People in wholesaling, the ones that really want to sell, they're open to working with you. The ones that don't need to sell, who want to sell, they won't work with you a bit. So this strategy reemphasizes it. If I make an offer and you go, nope, I can't even get close to that. Now, here's how most of my go for no's go. Rick, have you lost your mind? That is terribly low. Me and my wife talked about it, and we can't go below $219,000. Now, before it was 280. I'm just giving you an example. I subconsciously already accessed what the lowest they think they would take. And that is where I start my negotiating process. Now it's 219. Now I try to get it down to 180. Now I have something to work with. Do you see how that works? If they're at 280, they don't want to work with them. There's no point in even moving on with that conversation. They need time. They'll go on the follow-up depending on how motivated the seller is, how motivated the property is. That'll give you your decision on it. So the go for no, listen to me. When you make an offer on wholesaling, you should be flat out rejected on the first offer. The only time I get nervous in wholesaling is when I make a low offer and they take it. Yikes. Now, sometimes that's good, but for the most part, it usually means you got a problematic property, and why would they take the offer so fast? So do I have to do it every time? Yes. Yes, because you'll leave money on the table. And the worst thing you can do is overpay for the property, and you turn around and try to sell it to a cash buyer's list, and they go, why did you pay so much for the property? And you've got to understand that. So the next thing you want to do also is every time you work with a seller, you have to understand this. When they ask you for something, your job is to exchange something for it. So if you want respect and you want to understand how it works, you got to understand that when working with someone, let me pull it up here. If they say, hey, Rick, can you at least pay for the closing costs? Now, if you just roll over and go, yes, you are going to get request after request all the way to the closing. You have to have clear boundaries when you work with people and buy their properties. I go, Mr. Seller, now, do I include closing costs or not? If they take my original low offer, I'll throw in the closing cost all day long. If that offer gets higher and higher, sometimes I don't have room to put closing costs in there. Remember, I don't pay the closing cost. The person who buys my contract pays for it. But there's more value in a contract if you don't have to pay your closing costs. We all know that. And I can sell that to my cash buyer. Now, if I have a deal and we're on the fence and I have an offer to pay for closing costs, go, Rick, could you help us cover the closing costs? Don't just go, yes. Some of you just give in so easily and you don't get anywhere with that. So here's what I do. I go, Mr. Seller, if I could cover those closing costs, I'll consider it, but we got to do this right now. I'm going to use it for an exchange for a signature. Or what portion of the closing costs you want me to cover? Do you want me to split them with you? Something like that. Stop saying yes to everything. Hey, can you push the closing date up? I tell you, I can push the closing date up, but I got to knock $2,000 off the price. Just do an exchange. And it's so important that you create an exchange with your sellers. When they ask for something, you should get something in return, back and forth. Now, if you have a great going deal, say, listen, she's like, hey, can you close that in 30 days? I go, I can probably do that if we get it signed right now. Is that fair? See, always an exchange. Okay. I don't know. I got hacked there. I don't know what to say. Always have an exchange on it. I tell you, every time on these live streams, the weirdest stuff happens to me. It's so funny. Always have that exchange. I find some of you guys just give stuff away, and I don't want you to do that. So make sure you create an exchange that works really well on it. So, guys, when we get down to that, we just get down to basically after that, you just write the contract. Now, here's the good news. If you guys are scared of writing wholesale contracts, me and Zach can make it any easier for you. Go over to freewholesaling.com, and I promise you, all the contracts are in there for you. Here's the best part. I've been using this contract over 20 years. I love when realtors or lawyers go, this contract will never pass the snuff test. Give me a break. Thousands and thousands and thousands. I've written this contract. I've probably written over 30,000 contracts. I've done around 4,000 deals now, going on almost my 24th year. Come on. I just love them. But write the contract. It's simple. And here's the best part is you can go inside of our course and I show you how to write the contract. I walk you through it step by step. It's one of the most popular videos I do because it's the most helpful. And if not, you can just search it on YouTube. Just do Flip with Rick contract, and I walk you through it. And I commit every year. I think I've done 7 times now. Every year I walk through, we make some subtle changes, and we give you the updated stuff. Remember, I don't charge you 5 or 10 grand to get the contracts. I just give them to you. Why? Because I want you to take that gift. I want you to get the right attitude, and I want you to pass the U factor by doing that. So write the contract. We put it in there. Now, most of your contracts are going to get rejected. I'm okay with that. And you should be too. Because then what you're going to have to do is learn how to do the follow-up. Because the real money in real estate is in the follow-up. Yes, it is awesome. I high five when I get a deal taken down and it's signed right there. But most of the time, it winds up in a follow-up process. The amount of follow-ups I got going on right now, it's always endless. I can work 2 or 3 years back in my CRM. Now, most of the leads I deal with take between 3 and 10 months of follow-up. And my favorite part of AI, which we've incorporated all into X Leads, we tie it all together. Your emails, your text, your reminders, everything, it's all built in there. And there's automation. So in the old days, I used to send a personal email every time. I would have to do the text. The whole thing's automated. I just build it in AI. It takes time to get it set up, and it's all in there. Next thing is, when we talk about sending offers and writing, when we write the contract, it's all inside X Leads. Let me know here if you guys are paying for an e-signing service. The average is between $40 and $70 a month. Inside your X Leads account, the whole thing's included. Think about that. Think about the value you get with X Leads. You get free skip tracing. You get the e-signing. Everything's signed up and do it. Why wouldn't you do it? It's like nuts not to. So if you're doing that, The beauty of e-signing is, my recommendation when you do it, especially when you're doing your virtual wholesaling, is keep them on the phone and walk them through to have them sign it, especially if they're older. It's helpful. And keep in mind, through the power of XLeads, you can tell who's read your email, you can tell who signed your contract, and you get instant feedback in your XLeads database, all included, even in your basic account. Yes, for $97, you get all that stuff included. If you guys are paying for skip tracing separately, if you're paying for an e-sign service, go over to xleads.com right now. I'm just telling you, it's a game changer. So we're going to write the contract. We're going to do the follow-up. And then the last part of wholesaling is the one I teach last, because in my opinion, it's the easiest part. And most people go like this: well, Rick, you know what? Dispositions is a real pain in the ass. And I get it. I get it. But you still have to do it. So there's a couple things you got to keep in mind. You should always be building your cash buyers list, even if you haven't done a deal. I don't even, sooner the better. But to be honest with you, I didn't do it. I got a deal and I panicked. Oh my God, how am I going to get it sold? Here's the key, guys. Remember, you're selling the contract, not the property. I can't emphasize this enough. I'm not telling you to read between the lines, but I am saying read between the lines. You've got to be careful how you do this. You have to have pre-vetted cash buyers. How do you do it? I know I sound like a broken record, but XLeads handles that whole thing before you. Do you guys know, in disposition, some of you guys are paying for separate software services between $200, $600. Some of you guys are paying crazy amounts of money, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. You can get an upgraded version of XLeads. It does cost money to pull this information, and it's still all included. In fact, you can do the pro version of XLeads and get all this information included. So look at the cost of what you're paying for skip tracing, e-signing service, database, list pulling, email services, and check this out, and dispositions. Tell me what that number adds up to be. Because you could do you could do the pro or the X plan, and all that stuff is included. Now, it does cost more. On average, it's about double. And if you do the other one, it's a little bit more than that. But remember, most of these dispo softwares are very, very, very expensive. And guys, it's not complicated data to pull. In fact, it will find your best buyer within the circumference of the property that you're selling. Don't believe me? Check it out. But please don't pay for all these services separately. Guys, dispositions, here's the key to dispositions, is if you have a great wholesale deal, you're still going to have to work to sell it, but it'll be a lot easier. If you have a bad wholesale deal, you're going to blame it on dispositions. Oh, it's this, I got to go get disposition software. Listen, you can live without disposition software in the beginning. That's why we designed XLeads that's solely catered around marketing for the basic plan. 25,000 leads, 25,000 free skip traces, e-signing included, and that should get you enough to get your first few deals. The reality is, I'm trying to, guys, get you off the ground to get your first deal, and then the goal is to get up to 3 deals on your own. You do that, and we're going to talk about the next factor. So remember, you're selling your position on the contract. You're not selling the contract. You're selling it via assignment of contract. Go over to freewholesaling.com. I explain how to do the whole thing. It's pretty straightforward, and you've got to understand how that works. Okay, I'm going to answer your questions here in a second. So, and then guys, at the end of this, so if you have a really good deal, it's not hard to convince any type of cash buyer to take it over. Everyone's looking for great deals. The MLS sucks. It's all retail. So you are providing a valuable service, and you need to be paid for it. Don't ever let a buyer make you feel small or tell you you're wrong. Now, take their data. Don't ignore it. If I call 5 cash buyers and they all say, there's no way I can pay you that, like that's way too much, then you're going to have to listen to their feedback, and you're going to have to learn how to put the properties under contract. Remember, great deals should sell. You just have to have a consistent presentation on it. Okay. In the beginning, when I sold my deals, I did get great deals, and I let cash buyers take advantage of me because I didn't understand dispo. And that's why I JV'd my first 2 years in wholesaling, because I go, you know what? I'm going to master marketing, and eventually I'll just come back and kick everybody's butt in dispositions. I let other wholesalers teach me how to dispo stuff, and I'm glad I did it that way. I left a lot of money on the table, but I didn't care. I became such an elitist at finding great wholesale deals. And how did I do it? I marketed, marketed, marketed. I knocked on doors. I pulled all the government lists. I went crazy with it and I got really, really good at it. And then once I did X amount of deals, then I found ways to really hit it out of the park. And guys, all you have to do is repeat this process over and over. Think about this. Say in a 1 year span, you get some experience in wholesaling. You had an opportunity to make $100,000 on a flip. No guarantee on that money. It's going to take you 1 year, 1 year, which probably means a year and a half. Let's call it 18 months. You're going to have to put up your own money. You're going to have to make payments. You're going to have to pay contractors. You're going to have to show up at work every morning, 7:30, check in at lunch and check in the evening. You're going to have to do that 6 days a week for the next year and a half. And you think you're going to make a killing at 100 grand, or you can be a wholesaler, do, I don't know, 20, 30 grand a month, which is not hard to do. Who do you think makes more money? Like, you already know the answer to this, guys. If I went 18 months and just averaged 25,000, I'd make 450,000 while you hang on that $100,000 deal. Now, the odds are the amount of people you're going to have to pay to make that money is, it's not even going to be close to 100. It's going to be like 70 when you're said and done. And then the one thing you guys don't factor, you give your skill sets, your time, your energy for what, a year and a half? You didn't make any money on that. How much you think they would charge to put somebody in there to do it? Probably $70,000 to $90,000 a year to do that job. So I can't emphasize to you enough why wholesaling is so attractive to most people that get into it. Because I minimize risk, I minimize, and I maximize the reward. And that's what I love about it.